So 1 in 5 homeowners in America right now have a mortgage rate above 6%. Not 1 in 20, not some small corner of the market, 1 in 5 people. And that number just crossed a line nobody has seen in the previous 5 years. For the first time since 2020, more homeowners are living with a rate above 6% than below 3%. If you've been waiting for the market to go back to the way it was, I need you to watch this entire video. So my name is Eric Hamilton. I'm a top mortgage lender in the country. I've been in this market every single week, helping buyers through very difficult decisions. And I use a lot of data to show how the market affects each and every decision. Please hit the subscribe if you want housing market data without the spin that you see in the media today. So here's the full picture. Every rate and every bucket as of third quarter of 2025. I have the data just below on the graphic. 31.5% of homeowners have a rate between 3 and 4%. That is the single biggest group. 17% have a rate between 4 and 5%, and another 10 between 5 and 6%. And then there is the orange bar. 21% of homeowners are already at 6% or above. That's the highest share since 2015, and it's still climbing every quarter as people continue to close at rates above 6%. Now, here is where I need you to understand about that number and why it's important. Those are not people who got tricked. Those are not people who made a mistake. Those are people who had a goal to purchase a home and decided to move forward. And life did not wait for the perfect rate. According to the Bright MLS data, nearly 19% of all home purchases are driven by family reasons. Marriage, divorce, needing to be closer to family. It's not always taking advantage of lower rates or because home prices fell. Another 10% are job-related moves. People get new jobs all the time, transfer from state to state, and take better opportunities. That is nearly 30% of the entire market moving because life required it. That's also not including the amount of people that had to refinance, maybe to take cash out of their home and took a higher rate to be able to put themselves in a better position financially. They didn't take just rates were perfect. It was because life moved fast and then they needed to do something to help them out financially. For homeowners in their 30s specifically, 36% cited a career change or a job relocation as why they purchased a home now versus waiting. 34% said a family milestone, a marriage, a new child, a life change. Maybe they had their first kid or second kid and grew out of their current situation and had to move. They did not plan to purchase a home at 6% or above. They planned to live their life. The rate was what it was. These people did not sit down and say, I'm going to buy at 6.5% or 6.5% or 6.25%. They moved because they had to. They sat down and they had a conversation and they said, my family's growing, my job moved, my situation changed. And then they ran the numbers and made the decision to purchase. That is the real story inside the 21%. Not a rate story. This is a real life story that happens every single day at kitchen tables across the entire United States. Staying out of the market is not neutral. It has a real price each and every time you wait. Every month you wait, someone else is building equity in the neighborhood you want to live in. Every year you delay, prices move with or without you. Most people never calculate the cost of waiting. They feel safer doing nothing. That feeling can be very expensive in the current market. Are you currently waiting for rates to drop before you make a move? Drop yes or no in the comments right now. I read every single comment and will respond to you. Let me show you what waiting actually costs. Not in theory, but in actual dollars. The 30-year fixed right now is roughly over the last couple of weeks around 6.11%. A year ago, that same rate was around 6.65%. On a $400,000 loan, that difference is about $140 a month. $140 per month saved versus buying 1 year ago at 6.65. The people who bought a year ago at 6.65 are now sitting on 12 months of equity, 12 months closer to paying off their home. 12 months into a school district, a neighborhood, a new community. The people who waited are still renting, waiting for the perfect opportunity. Staying out of the market is not a neutral decision. It is a decision that has a cost. Most people just never calculate that cost. Build deliberately. Still renting is your hardest opportunity to benefit from. If you're thinking about buying in the next 12 months, you're going to want to come back to this data. I would suggest saving this data and looking back on it for your personal situation. Here's why people who work with me and my team are in a different position. Most mortgage lenders do about 20% of the work before they go under contract. The other 80% happens after you find a home. This is where deals fall apart. That is where surprises happen. That is where buyers lose. We flip that model, and we do 80% upfront and 20% after going under contract. We use a technology that's called gateless. It performs in real time, automated underwriting review in seconds. No waiting for human underwriter, no guessing, no surprises after contract. Before you ever write an offer, we have done 80% of the work up front. That allows us to go through the numbers and have you understand a lot of the data well before making an offer. So when you make an offer, you're not just pre-qualified, you're not even pre-approved in the traditional sense. You are fully underwritten. Sellers see that, agents see that, and it provides certainty, and it changes everything about how your offer lands on the table. Look, I'm not here to tell you that 6% is a great rate. It is not 2021 anymore. Nothing is. Those times and those rates are never coming back. But 21% of homeowners are already living at 6% or above. That number is important. Most of them are building equity, putting down roots, moving forward. The rate is one number in a much bigger equation. Your equity, your timeline, your family, your flexibility 5 years from now depend on this. That is the full equation. If you want to run that equation on your specific situation, please look at the link in the description below. I also have a website called 100homebuyers.com where I help, and I have the goal of helping 100 first-time homebuyers this year buy a home that maybe they thought was never possible and have sat on the sidelines over the last couple of years. The stories and the people that we've interviewed and talked with every single day have been inspiring, and many of them are choosing to buy a home. We map out your numbers before you ever step in a house. There's no pressure, there's no pitch, just clarity on what your move would actually look like. And if this video showed you something you needed to hear, share it with someone still on the sidelines. There's a lot of people that need to see these numbers and understand their options. Maybe send this to someone that you know who is still sitting on the sidelines. One person who keeps saying they're waiting for rates to drop, this data changes how that conversation goes.